Hey guys, Average Woodsman here. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit today about this knife that I just got. If any of you guys watched my last video, I talked a little bit about this knife in that video. Just around camp, gonna camp out tonight. Now, figured while I was, just kind of hanging out at camp, I would talk a little bit about this knife and show you guys some of the stuff that I've been doing with it. Like I said, I haven't had the blade very long, maybe less than a month, but I've taken it out quite a few times and beat on it already quite a bit. It's a pretty crazy looking design, but I can tell you, at least from my experience so far, I really like it. And I'm not a large knife guy, at least not for belt knives. I love machetes and harangues and kukris and all kinds of things like that just as much as the next guy, but just a large belt knife is not really my thing. But I've really come to enjoy this knife, and I've been wearing it pretty much every time I go out in the woods lately. But let's do a couple things with this, and then I'll give you guys my final thoughts on it, at least for this video. I'll probably do a long-term review down the road, but let's get into it. So I'm gonna use this other baton that I made to make another baton, just to show how tough this knife is. I mean, obviously by this point, hopefully everyone out there knows how tough a Tops knife is. They have a reputation for, being extremely tough, and their heat treat for their 1095 is considered among the best in the industry. So what else would you expect from a knife like this, from a manufacturer like Tops? But, for demonstrational purpose. I will say though, with the sawback, it just eats up the baton. I mean, look at this thing. And I was trying to strike it here, but there's a good portion of the spine that's the sawback portion. So this is the 90-degree spine. It's maybe like 1.5 inches or so. It's maybe like 1.5 inches or so. And then there's about the same length of sawback. I am not the biggest fan of the saw on the back of your knife, personally. I mean, I get the concept of it. This is not for sawing down trees or, to replace like a Silky or a Baco or any other type of saw, folding saw. It's more for notching. But honestly, I'd rather just have the entire length of the spine, just with a nice sharp 90-degree angle on it. That's just personally me. But it does beat the heck out of your baton. definitely could shorten this handle a little bit, but get the picture. Here's 2 batons I've made so far today. Just super simple. Takes no time to make them, really. And you can see how much this one got beat up by the back of that knife. Just in those few whacks, not many. And it just beat the heck out of this baton. So, one of the downsides of having one of those sawbacks. But let's baton through some wood for fire. Alright, so I usually don't do much batoning because in general it's not really necessary, at least not in my area, the areas that I frequent. Usually I can find plenty of dry or relatively dry kindling, and I know a lot of the natural tenders to use. Like, this is a tender bundle I made while I was walking out here. See, I have pine needles that I fluffed up. I have just some Spanish moss, some old dead Spanish moss. Excellent for a tender bundle. Just look for the really dark black dry Spanish moss, and then this is just some cedar bark that I processed down with the spine of the knife. Like I said, it has a nice sharp 90-degree spine on it, so I processed it down from the tree and then fluffed it up. And just a really quick and dirty tinder bundle out of natural materials. And that'll be my tinder bundle. But I mean, in my bag, I also carry generally fat wood. And it's one thing we don't have a shortage of in the South is pine. So fat wood is really easy to find. I even have a video on how to find fat wood if you guys want to check that out. But I'll do just a little bit of batoning with this knife. This wood is actually kind of damp because we got a lot of rain earlier in the week. So there is actually some wet wood out here. But all this stuff I found over here was dry. Really digging into that dirt. Like I said, this is more of just a test of the knife. I don't usually do much batoning with my blades because it's not really necessary. But there are instances, scenarios, where you may have to baton with your knife, and it's definitely nice to know that if you had to, in an emergency situation, that you could. That it's a strong enough, robust enough blade. And this knife is definitely strong enough. It's 3/16 of an inch of Tops 1095. You see, the knife doesn't really have any problem. I mean, I'm really hammering the spine of that knife with that baton. And this is an oak. It's a piece of oak. This is not This is not dead and dry oak. And I'm really hammering the spine of that knife and doing nothing to it. Edge isn't chipped or rolled at all. No damage to the edge whatsoever. Still nice and sharp. So one thing that I wanted to point out really quick, and this is just another reason why I'm not a big fan of coatings on knives. I don't know if you guys can see that. And I know that this is not like a traditional old school coating like, you know, they used to put on knives like from Tops and Essie and all those with the black traction coating. But still, it really wears off quickly once you start using the knife. I think it adds character, you know, it shows that it's being loved. But if you're a stickler for the knife looking pristine, probably shouldn't own a knife like this because it's going to get beat on. But just something to think about, that these coatings, no matter what the coating is, no matter how much the manufacturer, or it's always going to wear off eventually. I'm more of a fan of just a non-coated blade anyway. I would say that this is probably the best one because it's like a clear Cerakote, so it doesn't actually affect the performance of the knife while you're cutting, you know, through materials. It doesn't drag. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate the spine. I got my big old massive ferro rod here. That works well. Things shower sparks. So that's the Tops Brush Wolf. I didn't do a whole lot, but you know, this is just kind of a first impressions type review of it. By the way, I really like the sheath. Tops sheaths are their leather sheaths are excellent. Excellent. The fit and finish. I like this dangler. If I was going to take this out, take this to a class or something like that, I would probably fix these down, probably super glue them, but and probably wet fit the sheath. I might still wet fit the sheath, but it sticks in there really well. It's not coming out at all. The knife, excellent knife. I really like it. Handle's really comfortable. I was really worried about that because it's kind of a skinny handle, but it's really rounded and has these bow drill divots, which when I do my review of the knife, I'll probably make a bow drill fire just to test them, maybe even before then, because I do like to practice that skill as much as possible. But so far I really like the knife. Really handsome piece here. But you know, that's pretty much it for today. If you guys have any, you know, questions, comment below. Subscribe if you guys haven't, or subscribe if you guys haven't already subscribed, and I will catch you guys on the next one.